Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. How Miami Heat's Bam Adebayo performed in the NBA All-Star Game. Miami Heat center Bam Adebayo took part in his third NBA All-Star Game on Sunday evening, which was filled with excitement from both teams. The Heat big man tallied 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists in 17 minutes of action. It's safe to say Adebayo had an enjoyable time, with an amusing play to highlight the night. He inbounded the ball off the back of Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic and proceeded to knock down a contested three-pointer over him. Adebayo's appearance as a starter marks the first for the Heat since Dwayne Wade in 2016. The 26-year-old big man is starting in place of the injured Joel Embiid. He is the single player from the team to participate in this year's game, with forward Jimmy Butler missing out and guard Tyler Herro failing to meet the game's played requirement. However, Adebayo is not the lone member of the Heat to participate in All-Star Weekend. Rookie Jamie Jaquez Jr. appeared in the Rising Stars Challenge and the AT&T Slam Dunk Contest. He was eliminated from the dunk contest in the preliminary round along with New York Knicks' Jacob Toppin. Adebayo remains a cornerstone of the Heat's defense, but is making serious improvements on the offensive end this season. He is averaging 20.2 points and 10.6 rebounds on 51% shooting in 45 games. This is Adebayo's third NBA All-Star game in his 7-year career. Miami Heat big man Bam Adebayo couldn't help but take a playful jab at Boston Celtics wing Jaylen Brown after being asked to name the mustiest NBA player he's faced. Brown and the Celtics have played Adebayo and the Heat in 3 playoff series since the dawn of the decade. First, the Celtics and Heat faced off against each other in the 2020 Eastern Conference Finals. Adebayo's Heat came out on top that time around, as Miami eliminated the Celtics in 6 games before losing to the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals. Fast forward 2 seasons, and the Celtics and Heat crossed paths once again in the 2022 Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics avenged their loss in the 2020 Eastern Conference Finals by sending the Heat home in 7 games, and Brown had himself a great series. He averaged 24.1 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 3.0 assists per game on 48.8% shooting from the floor and 40.4% from three-point range. Only Jason Tatum averaged more points per game for the Celtics in the series. In the most recent playoff matchup between the two teams in the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals, the Heat won in 7 games after leading 3-0 in the series at one point. Adebayo averaged just the 4th most points of any player for Miami during the series, but he did a little bit of everything for the Heat. The 26-year-old averaged 14.9 points, 9.1 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 0.9 steals and 0.6 blocks per game while shooting 48.2% from the field. The way the Eastern Conference postseason picture looks right now indicates that another playoff battle between the Heat and Celtics this season is a possibility. After all, the Celtics hold the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference at 43-12, and the Heat have the number 7 seed and an identical record to the Orlando Magic, who sit as the number 8 seed in the conference. But it's worth noting that the Celtics are arguably a better team on paper than they were a season ago. Boston added 2 stars in the 2023 offseason in Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday to complement Tatum and Brown. Heat's Bam Adebayo disrespects Nikola Jokic big time in All-Star Game. Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat provided a funny moment early on in the 2024 NBA All-Star Game, throwing the ball off of Denver Nuggets star Nikola Jokic's back on an inbounds. Bam Adebayo collected the pass himself off of Nikola Jokic's back. On that same possession, Adebayo went down and hit a 3-point shot while Jokic was contesting. The NBA All-Star Game usually brings some silly moments with players trying wild shots, and this is one that just adds to the list for this year's game. In the first quarter, the East outscored the West 53-47. Adebayo's 3 points on that play made a bit of a difference in the score. Jokic represents the defending champion Nuggets, who are 36-19 overall entering the All-Star break. They sit in fourth in the Western Conference, 3 games back of first, and trail the Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder and Los Angeles Clippers. Adebayo is representing a Heat team that has struggled at points, but currently sits in 7th in the Eastern Conference at 30-25 overall. The Heat are half of a game back of the Indiana Pacers for 6th, which is the last spot in the playoffs available to bypass the play-in tournament. Even though the Heat made a run to the finals after going through the play-in tournament last season, the team would like to avoid it this year. Miami Heat finalizes roster with signing of guard Delon Wright. The move had been anticipated for the past 2 days following Wright's buyout agreement with the Washington Wizards, allowing him to enter free agency on Friday. However, he needed to clear waivers before the Heat could sign him. With the inclusion of Delon Wright, the Miami Heat's roster has reached the NBA maximum of 15 players on standard contracts. Additionally, the team is currently carrying the maximum allowed 3 players on 2-way contracts. The 29-year-old guard, known for his defensive prowess and playmaking abilities, is expected to contribute to the Heat's backcourt rotation. As the February 8 NBA trade deadline has passed, the Heat can now make roster adjustments solely through free agency for the rest of the season. Any future additions to the roster would require the release of a player to create the necessary space. The Miami Heat signed guard Delon Wright on Sunday, 2 days after the 9-year veteran agreed to a contract buyout with the Washington Wizards. After the buyout was reached, Wright's agent, Greg Lawrence, said his client intended to sign with the Heat. Wright, 31, is averaging just 4.1 points and 13.8 minutes in 33 games off the bench this season with Washington. He injured his knee in November and missed 6+ weeks. The 6'5" Wright could bolster Miami's backcourt depth. The club recently acquired guard Terry Rozier, who suffered a knee injury Sunday. The club has said he is week to week. Wright was in his 2nd season with the Wizards. He averaged 7.4 points in 50 games last season. In 9 seasons, Wright has averages of 7.0 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 3.1 assists in 494 games, 84 starts, with 7 teams. He was a first-round draft choice, 20th overall, of the Toronto Raptors in 2015. Wright's older brother, Darrell, was a first-round pick, number 19 overall, by the Heat in 2004 and was a member of the Miami squad that won the 2006 NBA Finals. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation about Delon Wright? Leave your opinion in the comments.